Hi there, smart drivers. Talking to you tonight about defensive driving. Actually, we're talking to you about smarter defensive driving, which allows you to incorporate the proactive defensive driving tools, which will make you a safer, smarter driver. Essentially, what we're trying to do is move you from being a retaliatory and reactionary driver to being a proactive and predictable driver. And with the skills and strategies that we're going to give you tonight, this, if they're implemented, you will indeed move from being reactionary and retaliatory on the roadway, which most drivers are because they're participating in social driving. And we want you to move away from the characteristics and traits of social driving and move into being a proactive driver and therefore being predictable on the roadways. And in doing so, you're going to significantly reduce your chances of being involved in a crash. So we missed last week with the live stream. I was away doing some defensive driver training in the United States and kind of missed everybody, but we're back. Salvador is here. My friend Bricks for Wheels. Corey is the moderator. Corey does an awesome job of getting up the videos that I suggest you have a look at for more information to the questions you're asking me, and as well keeps out the bad people, because once you get to this size on a YouTube channel, people like to spam you. Elevator Fan is tuning in from Indiana. Wyatt's here. Hello. And my friend Mallory from the East Coast of Canada is tuning in as well. Mallory is a smart driver, tunes in every week. And welcome, welcome. If you have any questions at all, drop us a note in the comments. Let us know if we can help you out as well. We help you to pass a driver's test, become a safer, smarter driver, or start a career as a truck or bus driver. So we can field all of those questions for you and give you information to help you out with your driving career. Sean is here. Elevator is still not feeling well. Elevator, you have been sick for weeks, my friend. You need to start taking on the vitamin C and getting out for some walks and whatnot. Yeah, sick for 2 months. That's a long time. My friend Big Mac Sam is here. Sam is a driving instructor in the Bronx. And Sam, you might find this a little disturbing. Somebody left a comment just before I started here on the YouTube channel saying that they gave up trying to pass the driver's test there in the city of New York, and they are driving around on their learner's permit. And as I said, they will be until the day they die. So I don't know who it is, but I did ask them the question if they had insurance on their car. They were driving around without insurance. Colton is here. Hello, my friend. And I put up a new video today, something we're trying out. I've been working with a video animator, and we're doing some video animation shorts. Now, one thing I did notice, it did not go up as a short because it's in landscape as opposed to portrait. So we'll see how that works out. We might have to tweak that a little bit to see if we can get it to work in the shorts here on YouTube. So we're going to help you out with that as well. Elevator, my 5th YouTube anniversary is a week from tomorrow. Congratulations. That's awesome, Elevator. 5 years. That is a great milestone here on YouTube. Anybody that has that kind of staying power certainly deserves success here on the platform. Yeah, Sam, that's what I kind of thought too, driving around on a permit in the city of New York without any insurance. Wyatt liked it. Thank you so much, Wyatt, for the feedback on that. Yeah, it's very short, very to the point. You can pack a little bit more into the animated videos, which is really good. Mallory says she had a cold snap out there in the Maritimes. Yes, I heard that they are getting pounded by cold weather. My friend Tim is here. Can officially have a senior moment in about 3 weeks. Hello, my friend Tim, Drive Smart BC. Be sure to check that out if you're in the province of British Columbia. Want to know anything about laws here, policing, traffic safety, road engineering, anything to do with that, check out Drive Smart BC over there at Tim's website as well. Great forum there. You can participate in discussions with other drivers. And now that you're here, Tim, I forgot that you sent me an email and asked me a question. I don't know whether you knew or not, but I was away last week. I did see the email. I'll get to it, and I'll answer here in the next day or so to answer your question. Kaylee, got my license last week. Congratulations, Kaylee. That is awesome. What did you do to celebrate, my friend? And where did you go? There he is. Everyone, my friend Rob is here in Nickel City Driving Lessons. He is a driving instructor in Sudbury in the north of Ontario, for anybody up in that area. My friend Carl is here. Cecilia, I got my novice finally on December 2nd of 2022 and got my car 2 weeks ago. Early birthday present for me. Yes, early birthday present for me. A car. Awesome. That is awesome. Happy birthday to you. That is tremendous news that you got a car, Cecilia. Absolutely awesome. Let's get over to the PowerPoint presentation. We'll go through that about 10 or 12 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll answer any questions you have about passing a driver's test, becoming a safer, smarter driver, or starting a career as a truck or bus driver. We'll answer all those questions. So, presentation talking about defensive driving, space, the final frontier. The reason it's called Space, the Final Frontier, I did borrow that from Star Trek, but it's not really part of the defensive driving model. However, it is one of the bases of the defensive driving model. If you can implement space in front of your vehicle, having that 4 to 6 second following distance and stopping in traffic, so you're approximately 1 vehicle length from the cars in front of you, you are going to be a safer, smarter driver. For those of you new to Smart Drive Test, my name is Rick August. I was a truck driver in the 1990s, hauling LTL freight between Canada and the United States. While I was going to university in Australia, doing my doctorate, I drove for Greyhound in one of the regional bus lines there, so I have coach experience as well, and that's a picture of me with hair in 2002. And one of the things that was different about me from all the other drivers was I made the uniform look good. Some of the other ones not so much. Became a licensed commercial driving instructor in 1998. Doctorate in legal history, graduated from the University of Melbourne with a degree in legal history in 2006, and started the YouTube channel in 2015. And it has been wildly more successful than I could have ever imagined. 265,000 subscribers and just passing 43 million views on the channel. Just incredibly successful, and thank you everyone that has made this journey possible. If you want to know more about me, you can find the complete description down in the complete autobiography down in the description there. Corey will put the link up for us, and you can have a look at that. As well, new stuff, podcast, Would You Pass the Driver's Test? Actually, that's a blog. You can find that down in the description as well. And winter driving test, if you're taking your test in the wintertime. And I do encourage you to take your driver's test in the wintertime. There are so many reasons that it is easier. First and foremost, the goofy people know to stay home. Second, there are less pedestrians, less cyclists, and other vulnerable road users on the roadway in the wintertime, especially when it's cold like it is in the Maritimes where Mallory lives right now. So they're staying home. So what is driving? Driving is both an art and a science, and to drive well, we must have a calm awareness. We have to have a forward scanning pattern that allows us to look down the roadway and interpret traffic patterns and determine the actions of individual road users. That will keep us safe. There are some challenges to driving and some difficulty, bonnet to boot, I call it, that our nose is facing the tail of the vehicle in front of us, and this forms rudimentary communication. I'm going to talk more about how we communicate with other road users on the roadway, and I call them road users because there are 6 different groups vying for road space: pedestrians, cyclists, scooters and skaters, snowmobiles and motorcycle riders, cars and trucks, buses, light trucks, trucks and trams, trolleys, and trains. Those are all kinds of different road users depending on where you live. And then, of course, as we were talking about in the course last week and where my mom lives, horse and buggies in Mennonite and Amish areas. Proactive driving tools. The first thing that we do with smarter defensive driving is define the problem. And the problem is social driving. People speeding, driving too fast for conditions of the road, not coming to a complete stop at stop sign intersections, following too close, stopping too close in traffic, and the list goes on and on and on of the traits and characteristics of driving. Space management, speed management, communication, and observation. These are the proactive driving tools that you can implement and make yourself a safer, smarter driver. Minimum safe distance. If you're not near anything, it's less likely that you're going to hit something. So always have a minimum safe distance. You can always manage space in front of your vehicle, contrary to what a few minority people believe. You can, and other people will not climb into that space. If they do, they're going to be going faster than you anyway, so therefore they're not going to be there for very long. If you're using the brake for anything but slowing down to turn, coming to a stop, controlling your speed on a downgrade, or unexpected events, you're probably too close to the vehicle in front of you. You need to back off, because you should be able to control space in front of your vehicle just using the throttle. Pedestrians and other vulnerable road users, you should be a minimum of 3 feet between your vehicle and them. Think of another person standing between you and whatever the fixed object is, whatever the other road user is, and that's going to give you space. Space buys you time, and time buys you options, and options prevent crashes. Drive between the clusters on the highways. Stay out of the clusters. Be the lone wolf. If you're in that pack, it's dangerous, because it's going to be a domino effect. If one person puts the brakes on, everybody's going to put the brakes on, and it significantly increases your chances of being involved in a crash. And I'm not sure what force it is on the planet that causes vehicles on multi-lane roads to go down in a forward direction in packs. I don't know. I think there's like magnets in the vehicles or something that cause them to stick to each other. But stay out of those packs. Resist the urge. If you do need to pass the pack, pass expediently, and then get back and drive between the spaces of the clusters on the highway. Stop in traffic so that you can see the tires of the vehicle in front, making clear contact with the road surface. This works for any vehicle, from motorcycles to trucks to cars to buses, big trucks, semi-trucks. And there are several reasons that you do this. It is first, defensive posturing against being rear-ended, because you're sitting there watching the traffic come up behind you. And if you see the vehicle behind you coming up too fast, you can move ahead and you can flash your brake lights to get them to stop. If you change your mind, you can move around the vehicle in front of you without backing up. And as I learned here in some undesirable places in the United States and other places in the world, it's also a defensive posturing against being carjacked, which is a real thing in some places apparently. If the car in front of you rolls back, then it's not going to roll into you, because there's that space in front of you. And then finally, in an ideal world where I live, if everybody stayed back one vehicle length, the whole pack of vehicles at the intersection could move off together. But we all cling to our illusions that someday this might actually happen. So who's driving? If you're following too close to the other vehicles in front of you, now giving up control of your vehicle, you're hoping on a wing and a prayer that you can react quickly enough to the vehicles in front of you. And as we know, we all get distracted when we're driving, because that's what defensive driving is. It's putting in place skills and strategies to compensate for the errors that other people are going to make on the roadway, and for the errors that you're going to make as well when you're driving. So we're looking to have predictable action according to the rules and culture of the roadway. Predict traffic patterns by looking far down the roadway. Know that intersections, more than 40% of crashes happen at intersections. Look at turning lanes, look for rubberneckers and anything out of the ordinary. And when I say rubberneckers, people that are looking at something along the roadway. The most prominent example of that would be emergency vehicles or police having a car pulled over on the side of the road. Know that your car's in front of you, they're going to be slowing down. Know the characteristics of vehicles and road users, that this is going to change during the time of the day. Morning rush hour, afternoon rush hour. It's also going to change during the time and season of the year. Many places right now in the winter time are dealing with snowmobiles. Yes, there are some goofy motorcycle riders out there that are putting skis and tracks on their machines, but for the most part we're dealing with snowmobiles. Okay, so motorcycle is summertime, motorcycles, RV units, and then in wintertime it's going to be snowmobiles. Interpret the actions of individual road users, looking farther down the road, the movement of vehicles, the movement of pedestrians and people on scooters, skaters, wheelchairs, those types of things, and maintaining your minimum safe distance between you and other vehicles and road users on the roadway. I talked about intersections and that more than 42% of crashes happen in intersections. Where are the intersections? Look for the intersection signs that are going to indicate where intersections are. Most controlled intersections with stop lights are going to be easy to identify. Other ones, not so much. Scan before you're entering, map out where the road users are at the intersection, and then track them as you're approaching and moving through the intersection in the event that these other road users cross your path of travel, and you can take defensive action. You can create space, you can cover the brake, you can slow down. All those above strategies put in place to avoid compromising your minimum safe distance that you want in front of your vehicle at all times. Good luck on your driver's test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Lots of questions here. Mallory says that the weather's improved since Sunday afternoon here in the Maritimes. Awesome. Rob says, had a student pass his G1 exit road test this morning during a snowstorm. No problem, but examiner said he was having some trouble finding his lane. It's kudos to your student just for passing their exit test in a snowstorm. I mean, that's just really awesome. And hats off to you as well, Rob, for the great work that you did with the student there. Fazy, I'm a driving instructor in Michigan, and I would like to be a road driving instructor, please. Yeah, I'm sure we can help you with that and the information to be a more successful driving instructor there in Michigan. Yamika, please, what's the difference between a regular stop sign and one with a rectangle below which says all way? Yamika, Corey put up the video there on how to handle stop signed intersections. Regular stop signs are two-way stop signed intersections. You have to stop at the correct stopping position at the intersection, before the stop line, before the crosswalk lines or sidewalk, and then at the edge of the intersection if those first two conditions don't exist. After you come to a complete stop at the correct stopping position, give way to traffic on the crossroad. After giving way and there's an opening, then you can proceed. All way, come to a stop, first person to arrive goes. If you're not the first person, there's some confusion, person on the right goes, and then you can proceed. But if two people arrive at an all-way stop sign intersection at the same time, just pause and let the other person go. They'll go before you. Colton, the blatant stupidity of people driving anymore. Tape makes me want to move to the moon to get away from them. Yes, Colton, that's what we were talking about in terms of social driving, and that's what you're dealing with in terms of other people on the roadway. Retired, what's the benefits of having an all-wheel drive vehicle? Retired, the benefits of having an all-wheel drive vehicle is that the stability control will direct power to the wheels for both going around corners, so you can corner better, and as well it will give you better traction in the wintertime, because if it detects wheel spin on an all-wheel drive vehicle, it will take the wheel that's spinning and redirect the power to another wheel on your all-wheel drive vehicle that has traction and move you through conditions that are not ideal. So rain, snow, ice, those types of things, and it's all computer generated. So there are benefits to having an all-wheel drive vehicle for certain, and the Audi Quattro Stability all-wheel drive is one of the best, one of the absolute best. Anton, hey, I passed my road test. Wanted to say thank you for all your videos. And Anton, you are most welcome, my friend. So happy to hear that we could help out. Awesome. Presto, but all-wheel drive doesn't help you to stop. You need winter tires for that. Presto, yes, and even winter tires are not going to help you to stop on slippery conditions, snow and ice, and those types of things. This is the other piece. We talked about this a few weeks back when it was like super cold. Minus 20 degrees Celsius. It was like minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit here. And all the social media, all the radio stations were saying, oh my God, it's so slippery out. Oh my God, we're all going to die because it's so slippery. No, it wasn't slippery. If you have decent winter tires on your car or your vehicle and it's super cold out, sub-zero temperatures, it's not slippery. The ice is actually sticky and will provide good traction. The intersections are slippery. This is why we come back to 42% of crashes happen at intersections. You need to locate intersections. You need to slow down back from the intersection and then creep up to the intersection to ensure you can get stopped. What happens at intersections when it's super cold out, sub-zero temperatures, is the cars come up and they brake and they slide. And then they take off and they spin the tires to get going. Because of the spinning tires and the sliding tires on the ice, it polishes the ice and friction creates heat. It melts the snow and ice a little bit at the intersection when the cars are stopping and taking off. you get a layer of water on top of the ice, and the water on top of the ice lubricates the ice and makes it super slippery. For those of us who know what a Zamboni is on an ice hockey rink, just after the Zamboni goes out and floods the ice, that is when the ice is the most slippery. That is when skaters love skating on the ice hockey rink, because the water on top of the ice lubricates the ice and makes it more slippery. The other experiment you can do with this is take ice cubes out of the freezer. When you first take the ice cubes out of the freezer, they're super sticky. You wait 30 seconds, a minute, and on the counter, and they'll just like skate across the kitchen, and they're hard to catch because they've melted, and there's a layer of water on top of it, and the layer of water makes the ice slippery. So when it's super cold, minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 20 degrees Celsius, it's the intersections that are slippery, not the roadway. Wyatt, on a road test, if you were turning onto a road and don't have time to change lanes safely for a turn after it, can you skip lanes since the examiner simply wouldn't ask you to turn if unsafe? No, you can't turn and skip lanes, Wyatt. You have to turn, get the vehicle straight, and then change lanes. Remember, changing lanes and turning are two separate maneuvers, and you have to do those two maneuvers. Changing lanes and turning have to be done sequentially. One is done first and then the other one, so you can't do them at the same time. Zamboni, I haven't heard that word in a long time. I don't know whether I ever mentioned this or not, Sam. I drove a Zamboni during my undergraduate for a lot of years, and I worked in ice hockey rinks for years doing work. So I know all about slippery ice after the Zamboni goes around, because that's what I did. And yes, the Zambonis will do donuts out on the ice. Even though they're four-wheel drive and have steel-studded tires on them, you still can make them do donuts out on the ice pad. Marion, hello there. I am new here, and I asked about reverse parking last night. Reverse parking, Marion, we did send you the video. I believe I sent you the video on reverse parking. You're talking about backing into a parking space. Is that correct, Marion? Just clarify that and make sure that's what we want to talk about. And welcome. It's so nice to have you here as well, Marion, and hopefully we can help you out and get you sorted out with your reverse parking there. Okay, Colton, CN. This should be on every radio station and cars and supermarkets. Thank you for the endorsement, CN. So happy to hear we can help out. And yes, we are helping out a lot of people, CN, here on YouTube. No doubt about that. And YouTube is doing an awesome job of promoting the channel. And I had Mookie, the channel with Mookie on it. I don't know whether people are aware of that or not, but embedded one of my the 5 defensive driving tips on one of his videos in December, and that video has now more or less, well, at least on my channel, in the measure of my channel, it's gone viral. It's crazy how many views that video is getting right now, but you know, and it's good fun. With lots of that comes lots of interaction, lots of comments about defensive driving and the way that people think that it should be done and whatnot, but it's getting a lot of good traction. Marion, yes it is, and I did receive the video. Awesome. And as I was saying, Marion, in terms of reverse stall parking, the easiest way to do it is to back in beside another car on the driver's side. That way you have good vision of where the car is, and you can do that. It's going to be a lot easier for you than if you just try and back into an empty parking space with the lines down on the pavement. That is really tough. Even for those of us who are experienced drivers, that's really tough. Try and find another car that you can back in beside as well. When you pull up, try not to do 90-degree reverse parking. You know, when the parking space is like this and you're like this, that's really tough too, because you got a lot of manipulation of the steering wheel. If you can pull up and then pull out on a bit of an angle and get more facing into the parking space, that's going to help you out as well. And yes, you can use a backup camera for the purposes of parking and reverse parking. You just can't use it as your primary line of sight. So you can't just look at the backup camera. You look at the backup camera, check your mirrors, but you need to be looking out the back window while you're reversing. And then just kind of pause and look in the backup camera, check your mirrors, and then look out again, out through the back, and that's going to be what you need to do for the purposes of passing your driver's test and backing into a parking space. Anton, am I still teaching? No, I'm not doing any in-vehicle stuff. I am doing some classroom stuff and some smarter defensive driving for CDL drivers and trucking companies, but I'm not actually in the vehicle with students teaching them how to drive. Coconut Head, can you release your book yet, Rick? Coconut Head, we're working on that. I just got back here, and we're going to move forward with that in terms of the book. We're going to get that going. It's on my list of cracking the whip on some people to get that done. Elevator, I have seen drivers pass on the right on the interstate, and yes, they are going to do that elevator. That's just part and parcel of social driving, that they're going to pass on the right. Sam, I bet you can drive your car around the block backwards, in reverse. I know I can. Yes, we can, Big Mac Sam. Yes, we can back our vehicle around the block, and probably at a pretty high rate of speed as well. Here's an interesting one. I had a student some years ago was driving truck in the oil fields, and they drove into this place, and it was like super tight. They took the semi-trailer off the back of the truck, and then they secured the freight, which were swamp mats, essentially, which they put down and allow trucks to drive through the swamps. And they put that on the back of the tractor, and they drove into this place. There was absolutely no place to turn around, and the driver, Bill, was telling me that they had to back out down this road like 15 kilometers in reverse. Like crazy how far. I was like, really? There's no other way to get a truck in there and get the freight in there? There was like, no, they had to drive like 15 kilometers in reverse in the oil fields. And I mean, it's not even a great road, right? It's like a sketchy gravel bit of road, and they're driving on swamp mats and those types of things. Colton, how sketchy is reverse high in a semi? Colton, it's not like sketchy. You can probably do 20, maybe 30 kilometers an hour in reverse in high gear in a semi. So it's, you're doing pretty well, but, excuse me, you can do it. Miss Fitton, get too close to my car. I notice when I'm driving, other drivers get too close. Yes, they will. They're going to tailgate you. They're going to do all those crazy things when you're driving, social driving. It's not a matter of if, they're going to do it. Going out and driving and expecting other drivers not to do something goofy is like going to watch your favorite sports team play and expecting the other team not to score. It's just not a reality. People are going to do stuff that is goofy. Studios, are manual cars faster than automatics, and why? Studios, not so much anymore now. They're just more fun to drive. And, for those of us who are kind of old traditionalists, we do like our manual cars. But if you want to get going as fast as possible, you're not going to beat an automatic now, especially an automatic with a sport setting in it. Tracy, my girlfriend, has an Audi S4 with a V6 supercharger in it. It's got an automatic in it, and it's crazy super fast. Crazy super fast. Priceless, how are you, my friend? Presto, on the Autobahn in Germany, it's illegal to pass on the right. Okay, and fair enough. I did not know that. Tyler, my car doesn't have traction control. I just drove carefully when it's snowing. Yes, that's a good thing to do. Anton, what's your daily driver? I don't have one of those. I just have the old buggy. Presto, I don't know about Canada, but in the U.S., backup cameras are required in all new cars since 2019. Actually, Presto, I believe it was 2016 that all new cars manufactured after 2016 had to have backup cameras. And I am a big fan of backup cameras. The issue with backup cameras in the wintertime is that the lens gets covered with dirt, and you can't see clearly in those types of things. I mean, obviously, you can just go out and clean it off with a wet nap or whatnot, but you still need to be able to know how to do it without the backup camera. You should be able to reverse without backup cameras, because you get in another vehicle that doesn't have a backup camera, and then you don't have that to rely on. So you should be able to do that. Colton, if people think hogging the left lane is a good idea, wait until an unmarked police car is behind you. Yes, left lane squatters, that's another thing. People do that all the time. And some people just sit there because they think they're going faster than everybody else. Yamika, when driving on a road that has one part with snow and the other side of traffic is plowed correctly, should I continue slowly on the snow side below or switch to the clear side? Yamika, usually I recommend that you drive where it's clear and has been plowed. However, as we all know, that what happens on the clear side on a multi-lane road when it's snowing and it's cold, the cars drive in packs, and for whatever reason, the colder it gets, the closer those vehicles drive together. So for those of us who don't want to be near the packs, we generally end up out in that other lane that hasn't been plowed yet, because we want to avoid being around these other, knuckleheads who are insistent on not only driving super duper slow because they don't have snow tires on their vehicle, which half of the vehicles don't, and they drive together in a really tight cluster, which just really makes me nervous when I'm out driving in compromised road conditions. Presto, some cars have a washer fluid sprayer on the backup camera to clean the camera when you run the windshield washer. Okay, did not know that. That's good information. Thank you. Mallory, for those of you who are having trouble driving at night, I highly recommend Rick's night driving video. Yes. Tips and strategies. Thank you for that, Mallory. For driving at night, you want to be looking for your landmarks. And the biggest landmark of driving at night is other traffic, because hopefully 99% of the time, other traffic is going to be driving on the roadway, so follow other traffic. Then utility poles along the roadway, looking for traffic signs, because traffic signs are placed close to the edge of the roadway. Look for concrete barriers, reflectors, other traffic coming towards you. Obviously, you're not going to be in the lane of traffic that's coming towards you, but you want to figure where your space is going to be from the oncoming traffic. Look for intersections, lights of traffic on crossroads, houses along the roadways, all of those landmarks. And know that at night, the farther you get away from urban areas, the more you're going to rely on the headlights of your vehicle. Now, if you have a newer vehicle, that's okay, because, they're super bright. But for those of us who have older vehicles, the lights aren't going to be as bright, and they're going to be a poor substitute for actually finding and locating the roadways at night. The last way that you can locate the roadway when you're driving at night and in the dark is look up through the trees. If you're going through a bushed area or whatnot, look up and you can see the clear sky through the tree cut, and you can figure out which direction the roadway is going as well. Also, if you're going around a curve, look through the trees to see the light from oncoming traffic to figure out kind of where the curve goes, and it'll give you kind of a bit of a sense of where the road is going and heading at night. Big Mac Sam, guys, take it easy. I'm hitting the sack. I had a long day. I'm beat. Stay safe out there and have a great night, my friend Sam. Thank you for dropping by. Always a pleasure, my friend. Colton, see you. And Rob, I turn traction control off in some cases in winter driving going uphill in deep snow. It's useless. Yes, because as Rob said, that the traction control, sometimes you just have to turn it off because it just sucks away too much power. And sometimes you actually need spinning tires to try and get the vehicle going and get a bit of momentum when you're in slippery, compromised conditions, and traction control won't allow you to do that. For those of you driving manual cars in the snow, you can stick it into second gear and you'll find that it goes a lot better in deep snow and those types of things. A little harder to get it going, but once you get it going and get it into second gear, you're going to get better traction and better momentum to get the vehicle going. Elevator, I don't hold up traffic in the left lane because that can get me a ticket. Yes, and as well, it contributes to congestion. So the other thing is we want to try and use the left lane for passing and then get back over so other traffic can move around you. Principal, how bad is dry steering for parallel parking? Principal, it's not a big deal anymore. It was once a big deal in terms of dry steering. For those of you who don't know what dry steering is when you turn the steer tires and the vehicle is not moving. At one point, one juncture in life, we didn't have power steering on cars, and we used to avoid dry steering because A, tires weren't very good quality. The technology simply wasn't there the way it is now. And so we would avoid dry steering. So essentially you just move the vehicle a little bit and then you could steer. But also we didn't have power steering. It was really hard to turn the steering wheel without power steering. So we avoided what's called dry steering, which is not moving the vehicle and steering the vehicle. But in this day and age, it's not a big deal. Tire technology is really advanced and we have power steering, so it's easy peasy. Studios, thoughts on instilling blinker brake light bulbs? Blinking brake light bulbs. Oh, okay, you mean like strobe light. On motorcycles, I think they're great. On cars, I think they're just distracting. That's my professional opinion on blinking brake lights. Boston, did you get a new Audi? If not, what's the mileage on your car? Any major maintenance you have done recently? Boston, the old Honda, the old buggy, the 1998 Honda CR-V. Most recent thing, what did I do? Plugs in a new rotor, I think I put in it, was the last thing. It's been a little bit pricey the last couple of years. I've done some stuff to it. I put a new timing belt, a new drive shaft, and a few other things. I didn't get a new Audi. Tracy has an Audi, my girlfriend. She has an S4, and actually, that's going to be my next vehicle, is going to be an Audi. That's what I'm looking at. Elevator, what do I do if I'm not in an urban area at night and starts to lightning and thunder while I'm out driving at night? Elevator fan, lightning and thunder, you are just fine, my friend, because you're on rubber tires. And so there's no grounding to the roadway, so you're just safe driving in lightning and thunder. Rob, my boss still insists on teaching avoiding dry steering. I'm like, okay, whatever you say, LOL. Yeah, Nick, Rob, that's hilariously funny that your boss is like, don't dry steer. Oh my God, really? Come on. We're just trying to get these kids to learn how to drive, let alone working on dry steering. I mean, in a big truck, I can understand that, but in a car, it's not a big deal. Tom, I love the CRV from your videos. Thank you so much, Tom. That's awesome. I'm kind of fond of it now too, after having it for more than 8 years. And the buggy now has 378,000 kilometers on it, which is about 220,000 miles, and still going strong. Presto, the only problems with Audis aren't known for their reliability. Presto, actually, Tracy's has 110,000 kilometers on it, which is about 80,000 miles. It's doing all right. It's doing well. Okay, Boston, if you get a new car, does this mean no more driving manuals? No, Boston, because I'm not buying a new Audi. I'm going to buy a 2012 Audi when that was the last year that they still had manual transmission. So yes, I'm going to buy a Audi that has a manual transmission in it. So I'm going to try and buy the S4 with a 6-speed manual in it. And yes, Audis are nice cars. I really like Audis. They, simplistic, elegant. They're just a really, really nice car and a fun car to drive. All right. Working on your own car, aren't you technically a DIY mechanic? You are. Really, I'm at the point now with most of my maintenance. The only thing I do on the buggy is change the oil. Because it's super easy. I mean, it's a 17 millimeter wrench, and it's like pulling the filter off, draining the oil out of it. It's the only thing that I do with the buggy now. Most of the other work, I take it in. I can easily change the fluids on it, but all the other work, I take it into the shop. Okay, newer car headlights are bright and they can be blinding when they drive at you sometimes. Yes, and if you do have another vehicle, if you're going back to talking about night driving for just a moment here, if you are driving down the road and there's other cars coming at you and they have those super bright blue lights that just like burn the retinas out of your head, look down at the fog line, try and get off, looking at the edge of the road until the car passes to try and protect your night vision, because at night when it does get dark, not our retinas, our eyes open up to allow more light into our eyes, and we want to try and protect that so we can look out the front windshield and pick things out of the dark landscape. The other piece with that is try and turn down your dash lights in the vehicle, and that will reduce the amount of fatigue driving at night, especially if you're driving for long distances at night, because the bright dash lights on your vehicle will draw your attention down, and you want your attention out the front windshield. one of the disappointing pieces of the buggy was a couple years ago I had a new stereo put in and it's got these blue lights on it that I can't seem to dim on it. Actually, I'd like to have the goofy things just turned right off. I find it very distracting with those blue lights on the stereo at night, driving at night. So I'm going to have to maybe take it back in and make that a priority. Boston 2016 S4 is more reliable. They revised the engine for reliability engine issues. Okay, well, that's not good news because I was really set on a 2012 for getting a manual transmission. Don't buy a V8 Audi S4. They have a lot of issues. Okay, that's good to know. Awesome. So far, the V6 has been good for Tracy. Wyatt, to be honest, I'm a better mechanic than driver, but then again, I get much more mechanicking opportunities than driving right now. And, doing some work on your vehicle that's always fun. And there's a lot of things that you can do, simple stuff. And I should probably do a video on this, putting, lubricating the door locks, lubricating the hinges, changing oil, checking the windshield washer fluid, cleaning your vehicle, waxing it, those types of things. All of that stuff is straightforward and pretty easy to do. I mean, you don't even have to be too handy to be able to do all of those things to your vehicle. Wyatt, I learned never to truly trust when people don't have a signal. Yes. And talking about communication and interpreting the actions of other road users and what they're doing, the position of the vehicle, the position of the road user on the roadway is the number one way that we communicate. Talking about signals, few people signal. Most people who are changing lanes simply give you one courtesy flash as they're kind of coming across. It's like, hey, I'm coming across. So they're telling you, they're already moving the vehicle. You already know what they're doing. Their signal is just something that is an afterthought in terms of what they're doing. So you want to pay attention to the position of the road user, the position of the vehicle in front of you. You want to figure out kind of the movement, what they're doing, and those types of things. And that's going to help you to understand traffic patterns and interpret the movements of individual road users on the roadway. Boston, if you have Volkswagen, Audi questions, message me. I work with these cars a lot. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Boston. I really appreciate that information, especially with Tracy's car. The other piece we had in the wintertime, she had shimmies in her vehicle. She bought aftermarket rims on the Audi, and all three of the four tires were bent. They were out of line, and it just crazy amount of money to get them, straightened out. It was like $1,000 for 3 rims. Just not good news. Studio 6-speed manual. Sheesh, that's going to be fun for you. Got to put a nice sounding muffler on there. Yes, we'll put an aftermarket muffler on the Audi and make it sound nice. Raj, you can't trust people with signals either. Yes, you have to wait until they commit to the turn or to the lane change or whatever they're doing with their signals. Priceless, good thing the turn signal sound gives me Sonnen because I'm always using it. Awesome. Marion, some people in my area like to drive in the left lane, comes up to an interesting and suddenly turn right. No indicators, no nothing. It's crazy. Yes, and expecting other people to do the unexpected is what you need to do to keep yourself safe and to be a safer, smarter driver, because other people on the roadway are going to participate in social driving and they're going to do goofy things when you're driving. And you maintain that space in front of your vehicle, and this is what we're talking about in terms of smarter defensive driving, is maintaining that space in front of your vehicle. And you should be able to use the gas pedal to maintain that distance in front, or to maintain that minimum safe distance, that kind of 2 to 6 second following distance between you and other traffic on the roadway. And never ever compromise that minimum safe distance, because as soon as you get near somebody, as we've just talked about here, somebody's going to do something goofy on the roadway, and you don't want to, be braking too late, and then you risk having a crash with that other person doing something dumb. Elevator fan, if you don't signal when you intend to turn, other drivers will think that you are going straight. Yes, they do. They do indeed. Good thing to turn signals, okay, and definitely don't hang out in people's blind areas, get past them because they could change lanes into you. Yes, another excellent piece of information. Rob, nothing is really unexpected if you always expect the unexpected. Absolutely. And this is the other piece about driving, is that especially in urban areas, it's not hit it and quit it. It's always changing. It's always dynamic. And as I say to people, if you take a stretch of road at any given time during the day, that stretch of road is never going to be the same, because it's going to be made up of different types of vehicles on that stretch of roadway, and every vehicle is going to have a different driver in it. So you can never ever replicate the traffic conditions and the situations that you're going to encounter along a section of roadway. As well, light conditions are changing throughout the daytime. Morning light, afternoon light, mid-noon light, depending on the weather conditions, whether it's overcast and those types of things. All of that's going to affect your lighting conditions when you're driving. Excuse me. And the other piece about it, and talking about lighting conditions, seeing, observing, scanning, communicating with other road users on the roadway, is blind areas around your vehicle. And I call them blind areas because it is an area of space around your vehicle in which you can't see into from the driver's seat. And that blind area changes depending on where your vehicle is. If your vehicle is straight or your vehicle is turned, the A-pillar, that piece that the door hangs off on your car, is going to create a blind area around your vehicle. So that blind area is always changing depending on movement down the roadway, different directions of your vehicle, where you're sitting in the seat, because sometimes you have to move forward and sometimes you have to move back. You have to move your head and look around the pillar. Where's the mirror on your vehicle and those types of things? All of this is going to have an impact on your blind areas around your vehicle. And we come back to the number one piece of information that's going to keep you safe when you're changing directions on your vehicle. Shoulder check, shoulder check, shoulder check. I cannot say this enough when you're changing directions, because not shoulder checking is to driving what not checking to see if a weapon is loaded is to gun safety. You would never pick up a rifle and not check to see whether it was loaded before handling it. Why on any planet would you change direction of a 2-ton vehicle at speed and not look into your blind area and see if there is another road user there? Shoulder check, shoulder check, shoulder check. And move your head. You cannot observe correctly when you're turning and driving without moving your head. You have to move your head to be able to look in the mirrors, to be able to look down at the instrument panel, and to look far down the roadway, and to look up into your center mirror. You must move your head, and Corey will put the video up for you on seeing and observing and moving your head for the purposes of driving and staying safe. Anton, how do you deal with judging width of your vehicle, narrow spaces? Anton, the way that you determine that is you go to a parking lot, you get some of those 3-foot, 1 meter tall pylons, the delineators, and work with those, and you will figure out where your vehicle is in relation to other things on the roadway. Also, those slow speed maneuvers will teach you mastery of the primary controls, the throttle, the brake, and the steering wheel, and how those things work in combination. The other piece with that, I lost my train of thought. Mastery of the controls, how those things work in combination. The piece that I was going to say is, in the winter time, steering and braking are two separate actions. You have to do them sequentially. You can't do them at the same time, especially when you're trying to turn on slippery conditions, because braking and steering, if you're braking, you're compromising your steering, because the steer tires are not designed to do both at the same time. If you want maximum steering, the steer tires have to be rotating. So if you're losing traction, or you're turning the steering wheels and not turning, get your foot off the brake and focus on steering the vehicle. Presto, must have been a great when cars had thinner A-pillars. Must have made for great visibility, but I guess they made them thicker for structural and safety reasons. And yes, they did, Presto. And they create a blind area around your vehicle. And it's worse the bigger the vehicle you get. And if you get into the big trucks, the semi-trucks, and those types of things, it's even more of a blind area, because they bolt the mirror, this big mirror, to the A-pillar on the truck, and you got to look around the A-pillar back and forward to be able to look into your blind area around the vehicle. Colton, if you want no blind areas, build a car with a bubble canopy. Yes, that's one way to do it, but you still have to turn your head. You still have to move your head to look. And Rob says Alec Baldwin should, a little bit of dark humor there, should watch my videos about gun safety. Yes, yes indeed. Mallory, just wondering if you could make a video on how to drive in and out of toll booths safely. I'm trying to think, Mallory, where I have a toll booth. Oh, where do we have a toll booth? Yes, we do. I could go to the ferry and do one there for you. Remind me of that. Maybe, Mallory, if you could send me an email, that would be great. Just reminding me of that. Raj, always keep your space. If people behind you have a problem, let them pass you. Yes, indeed. If people are tailgating you, increase your space in front. If there's a place you can pull off the side of the road and let them pass, yes. If you can move over to the right-hand lane, if you're on a multi-lane road, then move over to the right-hand lane. Just saying here, pass your driver's test first time for anybody going for a driver's license test. Pass your driver's test first time course package is available over at the Smart Drive Test website. You can pick that up for about $38 US. As well, we throw in both the winter and defensive driving smart courses. Have a look at that. Corey will put the link down in the description for you, and you can ask any questions you have about passing a driver's test. We'll definitely help you out with being successful in passing your driver's test. Elevator fan, I have had drivers cut me off, and I always get frustrated and pressured. And elevator fan, pressure to hurry up and go is very real part of social driving when you're in the car. It's just part and parcel. And one of the challenges for new drivers and drivers that don't have a great deal of experience is focusing on what you're doing. Let them go and have their crash somewhere else. Other drivers have three choices. You know, they can wait for you, they can go home, or they can just simply run into you. And it's not likely they're going to run into you. They're just going to go home, or they're going to get upset and tell you you're number one, and they're going to say something bad about your mother. But for the most part, they're going to wait for you, and you're going to go on your way. But focus on what you're doing. We were in Wilmington, Delaware. We were driving around doing driving lessons with the students and those types of things. We got honked at dozens of times. And dozens of times because we were coming to stops at stop-signed intersections. That's why we were getting honked at. Because people behind were just like, what are you doing stopping at a stop sign? What's that about? So that's why we were being honked at. Presto, what do you do if no one is letting you in while merging? Okay, so no one's letting you in. Traffic is bumper to bumper on the freeway. Presto, turn your signal on. Hold your line. Don't move out of your lane. Move left of your lane and keep your turn signal on. Eventually, the blinking of the turn signal and you hugging that left side of the lane is going to say to other drivers on the highway that eventually this person's just going to go crazy on me and they're going to move into my lane. So they're going to create a space for you to let you move into in front of them. Okay? So you just got to be patient, hold your line, and just keep that signal on, and eventually somebody will let you in. Okay, priceless. Heck, I got honked at today. Yeah, and if you don't get honked at when you're being a smarter, safer driver, you're not doing it right. If you're doing it right and you're doing what you need to do, maintaining space around your vehicle, obeying traffic laws, being a proactive, predictable driver, you're going to get honked at by other drivers. And you just say, yeah, okay, thanks very much. Have a nice day. Go and have your crash somewhere else. And remember, when you wave at them, all 5 fingers, okay? All 5 fingers. Don't tell them they're number one, because that just incites road rage. When you wave at somebody and have hand gestures, all 5 fingers. Colton, if someone yells at me about my mom's failure as a parent, I'll stare at them and say, you've never met my mom, so don't talk about her. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Don't talk about my mom. Share on driving sheet means that individuals not experienced enough or personal do welling where examiners cross. Yes, it just means that they were not proficient in that aspect of their driving. Great question. There are 2 ways that you can fail a driver's test. One is outright. It's an automatic fail. Corey put up the video for you on automatic fails on the driver's test. Not stopping for an emergency vehicle is one way that you can fail your driver's test. The other way is to enter an intersection you can't clear. Those are just 2 examples. There's 10 different ways that you could potentially fail a driver's test. The other way to fail a driver's test is to accumulate too many demerit points. And you can be assigned demerit points for minor and major mistakes on your driver's test. Too wide on a right-hand turn, for example, is going to be major points. It's going to be 15 to 20 points. Minor errors, touching a line while you're going straight down the roadway and you deviate and you touch the line, that's going to be 5 points. You're allowed 35 points on most tests in North America. If you get more than 35 points, you're going to demerit out. You're going to have too many demerits and you're not going to be successful on your driver's test. So those are the two ways that you potentially could fail your driver's test. Fail it outright, or you could fail it with common mistakes. Henry, how do we merge into the left lane on a highway or freeway? Signal 3 times minimum, look forward, signal, mirror signal, shoulder check again. If the way is clear, then go. And when you're coming across the lanes, and I saw a couple of people do this tonight, they're changing lanes and they're slowing down, okay? It's the complete opposite when you're changing lanes. You're not slowing down when you're changing lanes. You're actually speeding up because you're covering more distance on the angle. And to compensate for that greater distance, you want to be speeding up as you're moving from one lane to the other. Wyatt, I'm excited to eventually try again for my license. With my family, it's the squeakiest wheel gets the grease because we're all procrastinators. Awesome. You can do it, Wyatt. You can pass your driver's test, my friend. You definitely can. Prices, remember I was so nervous for my Class 5 test, and the only thing the examiner wrote on my test was good drive. Awesome. That's a great compliment by most driving examiners because, you know, they're not verbose, shall we say, which is a way of saying that they don't say a whole lot. If they said good drive, you did really well on your driver's test. Congratulations. I'm trying again. Rain sounds. That's awesome. Congratulations. Peter, so I have to be patient and emotionally stable. I'm not sure if I can do this. Peter, yes, you can hold it together for the 20 minutes for your driver's test. And people have asked me this in the past about how long is a driver's test. It depends where you're taking your test in North America. If you're in New York City, it's going to be 6 to 8 minutes. And then you're going to be back at the test center. If you're in a rural setting, we went to Salmon Arm here, which is about an hour north of where I live. And it's not very many people go there to get their driver's test. It was almost 45 minutes for the test that Charlie went out on. So if you're in a rural setting, it's going to be a longer test because, you know, there aren't many people there taking their tests. If you're in a urban setting, a metropolitan like New York City, it's going to be short. But for the most part, on average, most driving tests are going to be about 20 minutes from the time that the examiner comes out, does the pre-trip inspection on your vehicle, takes you for the drive, and then comes back. So know that for the purposes of passing your driver's test. As well, before you head down, make sure that you do a pre-trip inspection on your vehicle. Make sure that everything works. The seat belt. We had a student here just recently who was denied his road test because the seat belt on the passenger seat didn't work. So do a pre-trip inspection. Make sure that the door closes from the outside on the passenger side. Make sure the seat is stable. Make sure that the seat belt works. All the lights. Okay? Everything is working. Do a pre-trip inspection. And if you go down with a driving instructor, ask him or her if they did a pre-trip inspection on the vehicle before you head down to the DMV to do your driver's test. You don't want to be denied for something goofy that could easily be fixed, like a brake light being out on your vehicle. It's really super easy to get a brake light fixed. It only takes about 10 minutes to fix a brake light on your car. You just need to be able to wield a screwdriver and be able to fix that, okay? Marion, yikes, I hope I don't have to be in the test for that long. Port Coquitlam, Marion, no. In Port Coquitlam, it's a major center. You're probably all going to be under 20 minutes for your test there in Port Coquitlam. Having a little trouble with that. Okay, pass your driver's test first time course package available over at the Smart Drive Test website. You can pick that up for about $38 US. As a bonus, we throw in both the winter and defensive driving smart courses and guarantee that you pass your driver's test, or we'll give you your money back, guaranteed. And check that out and pick that up and be successful. Don't be denied a driver's test over a $5 bulb. Absolutely. So seatbelt not working on the passenger side, brake light out, front license plates missing. Those are just some of the reasons that students have been denied driver's tests that I know of, and there's many more. out there for reasons that drivers have been denied a driver's test. Henry, I got my driver's license and passed my driver's test in California about 16 years ago. So I also would like to refresh my memory when knowing how to exit the freeway. Henry, exiting the freeway. Keep on highway speed until you get into the deceleration ramp. When you get, or the deceleration lane rather. When you get into the deceleration lane, that's when you start to reduce speed. Don't reduce speed when you're out on the interstate or highway. Not always a possibility, though, not always something that you can do because there's a line of cars backed up out on the acceleration lane and they're going slow. Do what you can to keep yourself safe and make sure that you check your center mirror and keep in mind what's behind you. Keep an eye on what's behind you to keep yourself safe when you're getting off the freeway. Gustavo, what do you think about the colors of cars regarding safety, like black cars? Black cars, I have a black car. I don't really think it makes any difference. As long as all the lights are working on your vehicle, I think you're going to be just fine driving around at night. Just checking to see if there's any questions here at the last. Rain sounds, what if the driving instructor used the brakes on road test? Rain sounds, if the driving examiner uses the brake on a test, yes, that is an automatic fail. If the driving examiner intervenes in the test, that's an automatic fail. Okay, you do not want the driving examiner to ever intervene by pressing the brake, or you don't want the driving examiner ever going and being scared, because if that happens too, you get the what I call the pucker factor. No, you're not going to be successful on your driver's test. Corey's put up the video on how to get on and off a freeway there, and that'll help you out as well, Henry. Rob, thank you. Have a great night. We'll have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay, thanks so much for tuning in. Thank you for all your great questions, comments, and participating here in the live stream. Always a pleasure, my friend. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great night. Bye now.